Alright, I think we are good. I never know how much the delay is on here. We should be live right now, though. I think so. I did a lot better job with the thumbnail on this one. The last one was just awful. But yeah, let's talk about Dragon Ball Super and kind of the position it's in. Not really the position, but I guess the highs and the lows, really, what the title says. There's been a lot of pretty rough things in Super. But in my opinion, there's been a lot of really, really amazing scenes and amazing storylines that I think a lot of people are really harsh on Super. Granted, I think there's a lot of flaws in this series, and one of the high points for me at least, and of course we're going to talk about what you guys think in the chat as well, obviously. That's one of the great things about doing this in a live stream, is not only we're going to hear what I think, but I want to hear what you guys think so we can keep this a pretty beefy discussion, I guess. You know, lack of a better term. One of the stories I think is so amazing but does have a lot of flaws, at least in terms of how it's presented, is the Zamasu and Goku Black stuff. I mean, there's a lot of flaws with the storytelling and how it's executed and kind of the resolution in general. But damn if the concept and really a lot of the ways it was executed were really well done. A lot of the story points, a lot of the fights, and just the dialogue and the ways that the characters acted and interacted, I thought was phenomenal. And the fact that they got that packed into really what was a 20 episode story, that was impressive to me. And I think the manga's doing a pretty good job, although I prefer the way the anime has been going with that story as well. I just feel like the manga, at least for me, it takes some missteps. I don't like some of the choices that Toyotaro makes with the manga version, but that's just me personally. You know, we could talk about bad animation all we want. Dragon Ball Z had bad animation. It's not really worth mentioning, but I do think that obviously in the beginning of Super's run, you know, all the way up till, you know, episode 30-ish, there were definitely times where I feel like there was less care given to the animation and how things looked. Obviously, episode 5, I mean, you can see it in the bottom left corner of the video. One of the ways Goku was animated, it was completely terrible. But especially recently, and I say recently, really since I would say the Future Trunks stuff started, we really got some incredible visuals and animation and just art in general, and I think they've really stepped up the quality overall and kept it very consistent for the most part. Some guy in the chat asking to sub to me. Don't even know what videos you're making, man, but yeah, aside from, you know, talking about quality, I think one of the really low points, and it's very upsetting to me because I love the movie, is the Resurrection F arc. I love the film. I think a lot of people don't because it doesn't really have a story to it. For me, when it comes to Dragon Ball, I love it when there's a great story, but one of the most important things is just amazing action scenes, because that really is, I feel like, the highlight of the series, even though I think there are very good stories that come out of the series, especially in the original Dragon Ball Z run. Great fights, and Resurrection F really had that throughout. Amazing. It was so visually impressive, and amazing fights, especially Goku versus Frieza and Vegeta versus Frieza. But with Super, I think the arc gets a lot of flack, but I think people forget some of the good things about it. But the really bad thing about the Resurrection F arc in Super was that it looked terrible, the fight between Goku and Frieza. The fighting choreography was terrible. It was just not engaging. It was really boring to watch, in my opinion, at least. I was kind of bored at times. And when I watch Dragon Ball, I shouldn't be bored. It reminds me of when I watched the Garlic Jr. saga, you know, that whole dozen or so episode filler arc for Z. I think that was a terrible arc. Some people might like it. I really didn't. But Resurrection F arc really kind of bored me at times with the fights with Frieza. They just weren't engaging. And I think the biggest problem is that it was such a downgrade in terms of how it looked like in the film. I feel like that's still one of the biggest missteps Super's done, is by retelling those two films, but in the anime series. I just feel like that didn't make any sense. It's like everyone already saw Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. Why do we need 26 or so episodes dedicated to those two stories? Granted, we got some pretty cool stuff in Battle of Gods, and some cool little filler episodes like Mr. Satan fighting against Beerus. You know, when he reimagined or retold his fight on how he defeated Beerus, but it was like some bat creature. That was a funny episode, but I love Mr. Satan, so it's all good. Obviously, I'm going to like that. But again, back to the Resurrection F arc, what was really terrible about that was the fight with Frieza, but what was really good was how they mixed things up in the presentation of Frieza's army and how they fought and what kind of went down there with Togoma obviously rising up, and we find out that he had trained with Frieza, or I should say he was Frieza's punching bag, really. And he rose up to a power that was stronger than most of the Z fighters, you know, and it took Gohan to beat him. I thought that was a cool twist to it. I don't think it's quite as amazing as Mike from Laughingstock Media says it is, but he really likes Togoma, though, but we've talked about that a lot. I don't really like Togoma that much, but I do think that was a really cool way to twist the story, and it really was a pretty cool arc how they were making it, the story different up until the actual fight with Frieza, and then it was kind of lame. Although I did like Vegeta's beatdown on Frieza. I think, at least from what I remember, I think I liked it better in the anime, in Dragon Ball Super, I should say. I think I liked the way Vegeta beat him down there. It seemed more aggressive, and it seemed to be more, I just seemed to be more aggressive, I guess, and that's kind of how it should be. But, you know, I guess besides the Frieza arc, you know, because you could say a lot about that with the Frieza fight, but again, a lot of stuff besides the Frieza fight I thought was pretty good there, but I still feel like it's a low point. I even feel the Battle of Gods arc is a low point just because it is a retelling of a lot of the stuff we know. I didn't like the Super Saiyan God transformation the first, you know, when they remade it in Super. I didn't like the way it looked. I got a lot of hate when I did a review on that episode because I feel like I was the only person that hated that. And everyone else loved it. I just didn't like how it took half an episode to transform into something we've already seen. And I feel like it was really overblown how epic they tried to make it. But in my opinion, it didn't really look that epic. It didn't feel that epic. And then the other half of that episode was Shenron being scared of Beerus. You know, another transformation I think was cool, but I think people might have overrated it. In my opinion, you know, it's an opinion obviously, was when Golden Frieza came back and turned into true Golden Frieza. I thought that was cool, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I've seen him transform before. I don't know why it has to be such a big deal now, like why they're making the artwork and the, you know, the visuals on it have to be so intense. I felt like it was a little unnecessary. It was still cool looking, but it's like, why are you making a big deal out of this? It just kind of seemed weird to me, but that's not really a low point. More high points, I could go on forever. Some of you guys in the chat, I'm sure, are blowing me up with stuff that you guys think. Of course, I haven't been reading it, I'll be honest. I'll get to that in a minute. But I think that a lot of the fight scenes in Super are really well done. I think that most recently with, what was it, 97, when the Tournament of Power actually started, I think a lot of those fights were kind of lame. Episode 97 was kind of a letdown in my opinion. 98 was amazing, I thought. Again, like I said in the last stream, Vegeta totally won that episode in my opinion. But I'm going to take one thing from the chat right here. It's always so overwhelming trying to go between the chat and actually talking about what I want to say. Drago Senin, you think Super is ever going to touch, or is ever going to touch on the fact that Beerus is technically had all the Saiyans killed, or are we going to forget this? I don't think they're really going to touch on it. I think that it was interesting in Resurrection F where, you know, Whis was mentioning the fact that, what was it, that Frieza could mention something about how Beerus ordered the destruction of Planet Vegeta. But I don't think it's really something we need to touch on and see Vegeta, like, react to. I think it's just a cool little thing that, you know, us fans know about, I guess, or just a little detail that we know about. I always thought it was kind of unnecessary to make Beerus the one that was in charge of telling Frieza to destroy Planet Vegeta, because it's like, Beerus, you literally could have just poked it and it would have been gone. But I thought that was kind of stupid in its own, you know, in its own way, I guess, but kind of cool because it gave more detail to the story, I guess. I don't know. It was unnecessary, wasn't it? That's pretty much the bottom line. A lot of people going on about power scaling. You know, as much as I do bitch about, like, inconsistent power scaling, I've said it before, it doesn't really make me hate the series, or hate the series. Of course I don't hate it. It doesn't really make my enjoyment of the series go on too much. But, you know, it is something that does affect it, but it's not to, like, a great degree where it's like, oh, you know, this is automatically trash because they're not being consistent with these character powers. No. The bottom line is if a fight looks good, or if, you know, a confrontation is cool and interesting, that's the most important thing. It helps if it's consistent with the amount of power a character should have, but it's obviously something that's not really that consistent. It's even gotten to the point where I think it's probably worse than Dragon Ball GT did it, at least in my opinion, so far, but that's another discussion for another day. People in the chat saying GT better than Super. Lord Nemo, the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks versus base Vegeta, oh boy. I don't know if you're trying to say that's bad. I think that was pretty good because I think that was pretty accurate to how a lot of people expected Vegeta's base form to be. I think a lot of people thought it was somewhere around Buhan, if not more, so I think that was a pretty good scene. Of course, that whole filler arc wasn't really that great anyways, the copy Vegeta stuff. Do I think Caulifla will go blue? I don't really think so at all. I don't want to see any more Super Saiyan blue characters. I think that Goku and Vegeta have it, and that's good enough for me. I don't want to see Gohan get it. I don't want to see Kaba get it, and none of that. Let's see. GT was as bad as Evolution. Let's not talk about Dragon Ball Evolution like ever, honestly. The story needs at least one more good Gohan fight. That's from Hollow Man in the chat. Yeah, the last big fight we had with Gohan, I think the Goku versus Gohan fight was cool. I don't think it was quite as good as everyone said it was. I think a lot of people enjoyed it because it was just Gohan fighting again. I thought that Gohan versus Lavida was kick-ass, honestly. That was just a good fight. It didn't have to even be Gohan fighting. It could have been anyone. It was just a well-made fight. And that's the difference people need to understand, is that it's not always about the character fighting. It's about the way the fight is prevented. You could have Krillin versus Yamcha, but you could have it be a badass fight. Or, well, maybe not Yamcha versus Cybermen, because I don't think anyone wants to see that again. But, you know what I mean. Do I think Gohan will fight Toppo? The thing is, when I'm predicting stuff that's so far in the future, it's so hard for me to really say. Like, it would be cool, but, it'd be interesting to see if Goku doesn't even end up fighting Toppo, because, he obviously wants to fight him again, but it'd be interesting to see if they just don't let that happen. What do you think Goku's new form will be called? We don't even know if he has a new form yet. We don't know if it's just artwork or not, or if it's his base form with, like, some Kaioken power-up mixed into it. I have no idea. We just don't know what it is. Just artwork that we have from that little teaser on the Dragon Ball Super website. Train of thought. This is the problem with doing a live stream, is you lose your train of thought. And I haven't even seen how many people are watching. 144, that's pretty good. Good and the bad. The problem with doing a live stream is it's unstructured, but I really much prefer to talk about Dragon Ball when it's unstructured. When I do something that's structured, I feel like I tend to forget things more, if that makes sense. But it doesn't matter. Whenever I talk about something, I always forget something. I know that. But yeah, I think the highest point of Super for me, at least in terms of a story, really was the Goku Black stuff. I thought that was phenomenal. And, I was a person that said that an evil Goku would never be in Super. And, I mean, to be fair, he still wasn't. It wasn't Goku. It was, the story. It wasn't really Goku. But what was great about that is they executed something that I never really thought that they could do in the series. They executed it so perfectly, and there was such suspense. That was the arc that actually left suspense in Super for me, and had some tension and a mystery to it. A lot of people saw the outcome of that arc coming and the reveal. I didn't. I thought the fake outs honestly got me, and the fake outs that they had in the series, and the red herrings, they were there for a reason, and they caught some people. And honestly, I was one of the people who got caught. You can think I'm an idiot. You can think I'm not. That's fine. I, myself, just absolutely love that story and a lot of the fights and that whole arc in general. It's one of the top stories in Dragon Ball for me, I'd say, even, considering stuff in Dragon Ball and Z. It's just something that really resonated with me, and I loved it. And I think that Goku Black's become one of my favorite villains. And I'm really excited to see what the English dub does for that. I think that Dragon Ball Universe 2 with the DLC, most recently, that covered this arc, did a really good job with the voice acting, especially Zamasu's voice actor really stepped up his game. That's what I loved. Just checking out the chat here again. Do you think, Sonic Matthews, do you think the copy Vegeta filler arc was foreshadowing the Goku Black arc, an evil copy of a character, Trunks finding a sword? I mean, it could have been, but I really don't know. I know what you're trying to say there, though, but I'm not too sure. It could have been, though. Real quick in the chat, guys, so far, what's your favorite arc in Super? I mean, I would probably think most of you would say the Future Trunks stuff is the best. I mean, it's really either that or Universe 6. We haven't gotten that much in the Universe Survival arc. But in my opinion, I just feel like it's not going to be as good as the Goku Black stuff. That's just my opinion. I just don't think that the Universe Survival arc is going to get quite to that level. I do think it's going to be very good, though. I'm excited to see what episode, 99 we're going up to is going to do. One of the things I love about Super is they do a lot of world building with the Super Dragon Balls and, you know, Super Shenron. And they got Zeno, the guy that literally knows everything, and they utilize that a couple points in the series, but they really haven't used them too much. I guess it would be kind of a cheap way to kind of explain things in the story. But, you know, Zeno I thought was a really good addition to the universe and the lore. And, you know, all the stuff with the universes, that was just a good way to continue the story, to capitalize on the idea that we got in Battle of Gods, that there were more universes. And obviously, I think most of us knew that they were gonna do that, but it was just about when and how exactly it was done. And I think, you know, I think doing a tournament that involves the majority of all the universes that are left, I think that's a really good way of showing off the character designs, even though I think a lot of the designs, which I've said before, a lot of the designs are kind of, you know, somewhere in the middle. They're kind of average looking. Some of them are really cool, but when you're dealing with 80 plus characters, new character designs, really, it gets to a point where, you know, how unique can you make everyone, and how much time do you want to put on everyone? And, you know, a lot of them are obviously minor characters. The majority of them are going to be minor characters. But I think that putting them in a tournament stance and being able to show off the power of the strongest warriors of 10 universes, I think is a really, really good way of demonstrating power, obviously, and demonstrating those characters' skills and abilities. So Octozod in the chat just screams average. I don't know if that's just relating to Super or the whole series in general. Again, Super gets a lot of flack. There are bad points. I love the series. I enjoy watching it. There have definitely been points where I have been bored, which should not happen with any of my series, really, especially Dragon Ball. But, again, there's just so many parts that are good, and I'm just such a big fan of the Goku Black stuff, and the Universe 6 tournament stuff, that was incredible as well. Even though there were some, you know, missteps there, I feel like, you know, Goku versus Hit is amazing. SSJ Bardock versus Frost, I don't even know why that's even a thing. It wouldn't be a fight. Frost would melt him. Super Saiyan Bardock's not strong. I did a whole video talking about the power of Super Saiyan Bardock, though. Honestly. Toyotaro needs to stop walking Vegeta off. I think Vegeta is actually getting better treatment in the anime, which is funny, because you'd think the anime would appeal more to the masses, and obviously Goku is the most popular character. He's my favorite character, but you'd think that they would kind of treat him worse in Super's anime, but they really have been doing a good job. People always complain when Goku gets, like, you know, better treatment than Vegeta. I think it's fine. I think there's points where they should give Vegeta a little bit more, but again, 98, Vegeta stole the show. Even though Vegeta didn't kill Frieza, I think that they kind of did a good job of working around that and showing that, well, you know, Vegeta was off guard, and it's not like when Whis uses time travel to go back, it's not like he could have been like, hey, Vegeta, kill Frieza. It's like, all right, I'm Goku, I'm going in there and I have to kill him quick so we don't mess up again. I don't know. I think they do a good job of Vegeta. There is more they can do, but it's not as bad as people say. It's unbelievable. Like, Vegeta's had so many good lines of dialogue that I think people only focus on Vegeta when there's fighting involved, but I think Vegeta really steals the show from Goku when he's showing off his character traits and even interacting with his family. It's like, people don't focus on those points. They only focus on the action. And like I said earlier, I think the action is the most important part of Dragon Ball, but it's like, there's more to the series than just fighting and ki blast. Like, come on. Way more to it than that. Take some more stuff from the chat here. Dragon Ball Nation, are you selected for the Universe Survival Tournament in the real world? From Luke T. I didn't know there was a real Universe Survival Tournament. If that is, I hope I'm in it. I mean, I definitely would win, though. Let's be fair. Alpha Titan, they need to give Vegeta a transformation. It doesn't need to be a powerful form, at least strategic form like Super Saiyan God is used for stamina, not power. So give Vegeta something new. I mean, I could see that, but what would you give him that Goku couldn't get? You know, Goku has Kaioken, which Vegeta obviously doesn't know. Even though, I mean, come on, you could teach Vegeta that, Goku, or King Kai could. It makes sense for Goku to have the edge in that category, you know. Obviously having that extra power. I think that the manga did something stupid with having Goku not have Kaioken Blue, but having the ability to fully unlock Super Saiyan Blue, but that's just something Vegeta doesn't have or can't do or what. I think that the full-powered Super Saiyan Blue, which again, I've still seen people call it Mastered Super Saiyan Blue for some reason, even though mastering a form would mean you'd have no energy leakage or really low energy leakage, like how in the Cell games Goku and Gohan obviously mastered Super Saiyan and were walking around like they were in the normal forms. You know, it's not mastered Super Saiyan Blue, it's full power, and I don't know why people still can't get that through their thick skulls. But I just don't like the idea of that in the manga. I really don't. It's just not a fan of it. I also didn't really care to see Super Saiyan Goku Black. I didn't think it was really that cool. It was okay, but that's all I can really say about it. Boy, the chat goes so fast for me, it's unreal. And I already suck at reading. Shisu Uchiha, I probably fudged that up. Please explain why future Mai is a young woman in Trunks' timeline. I guess they're probably going off the notion that Mai grew up in his timeline from like a girl because she got wished to a little girl, but in that timeline Mai should be like Bulma's age, a little bit older actually, so you know, in her 50s, almost 60 I guess, but she looks like she's like 20, maybe like almost 30, or she's in her 20s. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but you know, a lot of fan service I guess, so it worked there. I think that, you know, even though it was stupid that Mai wasn't old, I thought that it was so good of a story point to have Mai there and to have that be a love interest for Trunks. It just worked. It didn't make a lot of sense, but like I said earlier, things don't always make sense, but when they work, it makes me happy. It worked so well, I thought, as a, you know, more of a, I guess another, what's the word I'm looking for? Another thing for Trunks to hold on to in his timeline, since he's really lost everything. I thought it was great. Dragon Ball Super needs more romance. I don't really think it does. I think that, you know, the little interactions we see with Bulma and Vegeta are really nice, and I like the stuff with Mai, especially. I think the first episode where Trunks came back, 47, where they had cat food or dog food they were eating. I thought that was a nice scene. You guys know the scene I'm talking about. They were eating dog food or cat food out of a can, obviously. I think that's what it was. That was a really nice scene. Let's see. Mr. Gohan says we're almost hitting 200 viewers. That's right. Killer Plays. Hi, I really like it. I really like the channel. Thanks a lot, man. Do I like bad animation? I mean, come on, bro. No one does. Although no one mentions that we just hit over 200 viewers. Awesome. No one mentions that Goku versus Cell had some really, really disgusting looking scenes. Like when Cell did the multiform, I almost vomited on how bad that looks. It was... the animation was bad. It was bad. Why does Super already have filler if it passed the manga? You know, I don't even think I'm the person to ask that. That's tough. But the thing about the manga is people still don't understand is that it's not really like it's the first source for information or the primary source. Super's manga at the start was a promotional device for the anime. I guess you really shouldn't, maybe you shouldn't say it still is, but at the same time it's like, where do you take your information from? Do you mix your information with the manga and the anime and kind of make sense of both because they are so drastically different in how they, you know, develop their stories? I don't know. Why does Super have filler? I mean, it's one of those things that I really can't answer. It's kind of just like, we have these great stories, but let's make more money by adding these things that Toriyama hasn't made. You know, series creator Toriyama hasn't made. Let's do these things that we've come up with and capitalize on that while maybe Toriyama's still developing those new stories. I don't really know. It's just my best guess. It's obviously there for a reason. Some of the filler has been cool, though, like the Hit stuff, where we saw Hit on the job, executing people, and obviously him fighting Goku again, which was, you know, an okay fight. It was kind of cool. I thought that the whole, you know, environment of seeing Hit interact on that planet he was on and going after an assassination target, I thought was really cool. Goku seeing Android 17 again was not bad. The fight was alright. I think I'm one of the few people that liked the part where they go on the spaceship in outer space. I thought that was fun. I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed it. Let's see. Matthew Stewart, the biggest issue with Super is the fact that we know how it ends. No one dies. We have God level main cast and the Dragon Balls, so that's a bit of an issue. Yeah, I mean, part of the issue with Super is that I think it's I shouldn't say double-edged sword, because it's not like it's only bad because I don't know what I'm saying. There's two reasons, though, that, you know, it kind of sucks, is that they obviously can't put it after Z because GT does exist, even though GT is obviously not an official part of the history anymore. It is something that exists and people recognize, and especially considering people are wondering why Goku didn't go Super Saiyan 4 against Beerus in Battle of Gods, even though Battle of Gods takes place like, oh god, what? 11 or 12 years before GT. People didn't understand that, but, you know, people still think that GT is still officially a part of the series, which it's really not. I love GT, a lot of parts of it. I hate a lot of it too. But, you know, obviously they couldn't have Super take place of that. People just wouldn't understand it. It makes sense why they put it in between the 10-year gap after the defeat of Majin Buu and before the tournament at the end of the Z. It makes sense to have it there, and I think that's the best place to put it. Keeps all the characters at a good age. We don't want to have it and say, hey, this takes place after GT or something, even though GT wouldn't be a thing. But yeah, it is the biggest issue because we know everyone's going to be good. But again, that's what I like about the Zamasu stuff and the Goku Black stuff, is that I feel like that arc really did a good job of building tension and keeping it there, because it had characters that we didn't know were going to be okay, like Future Trunks, like Gowasu, I think is a cool character. So it had things, you know, and all the other characters in the future. We don't know how that world actually ends up later on, so it was good to see that, and it did a good job of building tension, and I think it really was one of the best stories in the series. Hollow Man says, I just want to see Teen Goten or something. I don't understand why Goten and Trunks aren't aging still. It makes no sense at all. Like, it really, really, really doesn't. But it's something we gotta deal with. Like, what? They're 13, 14 now or something, and they still look like they do when they were 7 and 8. Doesn't make any sense. The fights in Dragon Ball Super are way too short, in my opinion. I think they're a good length. I think it's very representative of what you would see in the Dragon Ball Z manga. If you've read the manga, you know the fights aren't that long usually. Especially the one that really sticks out is that Gohan versus the Boar is what, like a 15 or 20 minute fight in the anime, and I think it's a good fight, and it's a very good length fight too. There's no real filler in that fight, even though there's so much in that fight actually added on that wasn't in the manga. The manga's like, what, 2 or 3 pages, I think it is. I'd look back, but the mangas are over there. It's really short, and it's not that great. In the anime, I love that fight. But a lot of the fights in the anime for Z just are filled to the brim with filler. I think Goku versus Cell, even though it's an hour, I think that's a really good paced fight. It still could have been shorter, I guess. But I think if you cut out some of the BS, it's still good. I haven't really been keeping up with Kai, so I don't know how well they do the fights. I think that Frieza versus Goku is something like 2 hours now in Kai, as to where it's, what, 4.5 in the regular Z airing, so, you know. Do I like the anime or manga better? Definitely the anime, but I feel like I'll get flack for that. I just like the way the anime flows better with Super. And even with Z, I just like seeing things move. I guess I'm just a little kid in that way. I just like seeing things animated on screen. Let's see here. So you're trying to tell me Super has better fights than GT. I never said that, but it does. GT has some good fights. I think that Goku versus Baby is a really, really good fight. I think that it really falls short once Baby turns into a great ape. But, you know, it does have a lot of good fights. I think some of the Shadow Dragon fights are interesting. But overall, Super definitely has better fights. But GT has beautiful animation. It really does. It recycles some things. But that's one of the things people don't mention about GT. But I love it when I see people do mention it. It looks beautiful. It really does. Absolutely beautiful series. Let's see here. I should play music in these streams or something. You know, have like a 1 hour or so. I don't even know if it's going to be an hour stream. It might be 45 minutes. I have no idea. You should play some music or something, though. Killer Plays says, Nation, I just hit 1.4k subs. Congrats, man. I bet it was a long haul, because that shit takes a while to get to. But once you usually hit, like, you know, depending on... YouTube's completely different now, though. But once I hit, like, 3,000 or 4,000, then I started blowing up. But I think that was just because I put out some videos that, to be honest, I don't think were good, but they were popular for some reason. One of my... Yeah, there's a dog. That's my brother's dog, though. That's not the big dog that we got, but that's the little one. Losing my train of thought, looking at the chat and talking about a damn dog during a Dragon Ball Super live stream. Thoughts on Turles and his character? I think Turles is interesting. I don't think he's the greatest thing, but I think it was cool to see a character that really was represented as, this is Goku if he didn't bump his head when he came to Earth. It was interesting. Goku Black's better, but that's just me. X-Trail X Swan. Or Swain. Or Swan. Swan. I'm going to say Swain. No, I'm going to say Swan, even though it's Swain. Who would... chat's moving up too damn fast. Who would be better? Hit versus Goku... Or Hit and Jiren versus Goku or Vegeta. Or... Read this right. I told you I suck at reading. Hit and Goku versus Jiren. Or Vegeta and Goku versus Jiren. I would say Vegeta and Goku versus Jiren because their fighting styles obviously pair up a lot better than Goku and Hit would. Again, I want to see Hit and Vegeta fight. I think that's probably the top fight in Super. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that. It'd be easy views. That sounds so terrible. It would be, though. I can go more in depth. I could, you know, I wouldn't write a script. I've never done a script, but... You know, my reasons why that would be a good fight. I think that could be a cool little short video. Well, I really love these live streams, though. I think it really is the best way to talk about Super for me. I don't care about having it be structured or have this be a super well-edited video. I just like talking and BSing. That's it. Geeking out on this shit. That's all I like doing. Do you think Cell will be revealed in Dragon Ball Super? I don't think... I'm assuming you mean revived, but... I don't think so. I hope so. It wouldn't make any sense. I don't see how they would do it in the story, but it is something I'd want to see, definitely. I can debunk Geekdom's Buhan is stronger than Kid Buu video if you email. I can email you the info. Can you make a debunking video on Geekdom? Why would I debunk him when Buhan is stronger than Kid Buu? It's not even a question. It's literally not a question. If you go by the Dragon Ball Z anime, and I think... The dub and the Japanese, I believe, does try to say Kid Buu's the strongest one. The original manga makes it very clear that he is not the strongest. Base Super Buu is stronger than Kid Buu. But aside from that, there's just so many other ways. Like, all I need to say is, like, I can debunk it with, like, 2 sentences or so. Why would Goku and Vegeta fuse into Vegito to defeat Buhan if Goku as a Super Saiyan 3 said he could beat Kid Buu if he went all out? But if he could beat Kid Buu, why would he waste fusing, which at the time they knew was a permanent fusion? Why would they waste their time doing a permanent fusion against a weaker enemy if Goku could have just beaten him as a Super Saiyan 3? Also, why was Super Saiyan 3 Goku trying to, like, run away from Buu tanks, basically? Like, he was... not trying to fight him directly. Like, that doesn't make sense. Also, when they're inside of Buu, Goku's like, even though he's back to... It's like I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, even though he's back to normal, we stand no chance against him without those earrings. And you just... If I can... You don't need to you don't need to email me the info. You say the manga says Kid Buu is stronger. I have the manga. It doesn't say that. So like you can tweet it at me. I don't need any emails. You can tweet it at me. It shouldn't be that hard. It seems pretty simple. I mean, if the manga says it, all you gotta do is show me a few panels. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'll give you a chance. Just tweet it at me or something. Like, I'm just telling you what I know. And I know that that Kid Buu is not stronger than Buhan. Or even Super Buu. But now we're not even talking about Dragon Ball Super. We need to get back on Super right now. What do you think? Okay, I lost that one already. God, where did it go? One real quick thing. What is the one thing you guys want to see happen in Super? Real quick while I'm going through this chat. What's one thing you want to see happen? You probably want to know my answer, and I got an answer for you. Is I have no idea. I just want to see what Toriyama comes up with. Because it's usually going to be something cooler. Although, one of those storylines I do want to see is something that's already been done in Heroes. Dragon Ball Heroes is like the demon realm kind of flooding into the real world and having Deborah come back or something. But Dragon Ball Heroes did that. I feel like if it was in the anime, it'd be a lot better of a story. That's just me. Deborah was so underused. Literally, criminally underused character. Illuminati King Trunks. Tingly back, I should smack that hoe. Speaking of tingly backs, what the hell was up with the whole tingly back thing? Saying, oh, you get a tingle in your back when you go Super Saiyan. No, where does that come from? Like, that's a new, like, detail on how to become a Super Saiyan. You get a tingle in your back. Like, where's that come from? I don't know. The lighting in my room is absolutely great, isn't it? It's getting so dark right now. It's 6:39. I need to get like a big light or something. But yeah, I don't know where the tingly back thing came from. I think that was stupid. Oh, I just realized when I scroll up and down the chat, it scrolls in the video. But it's not delayed. Huh. Oh no. I'm an idiot. I was looking at my OBS and not the actual live chat. I'm an idiot. So it is delayed then, okay. That would be confusing if I didn't have it delayed. Super's biggest problem, inconsistency, Octozad said. Let's see what you guys said. I'm going back to the bottom of the chat here to see what you guys said about what you want to see in Super. Let's see. Alpha Titan, I'm still mad. Things like that is why I hate Super. They really ruin my favorite transformations. Okay, so with the tingly back thing, yeah, it's a dumb little addition to have that. It doesn't make any sense. Although that whole episode with Caulifla and Kill was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. That's exclusive to Universe 6 Saiyans. I don't think it is. If you're talking about what I was talking about, I don't think that is. Is it? Did they say that? How would they know that? I don't think that's what. I don't think it is. When will Piccolo have a shine in the series? In this arc, we might see something. Universe 6 stuff. He did some pretty cool stuff in that tournament. Although I don't understand about Piccolo is he has a special beam cannon. And that pierces through people. So is Krone's Destructo Disc, except for when it splashed off of Cell's back in the filler. Like when he threw it at Cell in the filler, and it literally just, like, dissipated around him. Piccolo, you got the special beam cannon. And they're like, hey, Piccolo, you have to go fight a weakened Frost now. Even though people were trying to tell me that Piccolo was even with Frost, or was close to Frost, even though people don't recognize that Frost was weakened, like at all. Like, super weakened from Goku pounding his ass. Why'd Piccolo wrap his arm around Frost and get a special beam cannon ready to blast him? Like, wouldn't that kill him? There's no killing allowed in that tournament. Wouldn't that have killed him? Or is it going to knock him out? Have we seen special beam cannon knock people out? He did it again in the last episode, special beam cannon. Or was that the episode before? I don't remember. That's a deadly attack, Piccolo. You need to calm down with that. What fights are you hyped for in this arc? I just want to see Android 18 kick some ass. That's pretty much it. Android 18 versus Caulifla. For reasons. Let's see. Farmer with a shotgun versus Jiren. Boy. I don't know. We haven't seen Jiren be bulletproof yet. Although you can assume he is. Although Krillin got shot and bled in Super. A way stronger version of Krillin got shot in Super and was bleeding. And I saw people try to explain it. Somehow. That's like, Krillin, you're bleeding from a gunshot. But in Dragon Ball, in the beginning, where you had a power level like 30 or 40, you got shot and it gave you a bump on your head. Doesn't that confuse anyone else? Again, doesn't ruin Super, but it's just like, what are you thinking? Black Putin. It's a good name. I want them to stop doing tournament arcs. I think that after this one, they probably shouldn't do another one. But I like them if they're done well, which they usually are actually done well. I can't think of any of them that weren't. I mean, even the Otherworld tournament was pretty awesome, so, in DBZ. Davion Marshall. Oob's development. So I'm assuming he's talking about, he wants to see Oob get some character development. I don't think we need to see anything with Oob and Super. I think them mentioning it is enough. Mentioning that he exists. I don't think we need to see him at all in Super. Maybe at the end. Maybe. But GT showed Oob. I can give two shits about Oob. I never cared about him. He really is interesting to me. Not that cool, in my opinion. Let's see. Game Cinema says I'm sexy and I know it. Alright, good for you. Congratulations on your accomplishment, sir. Samir 1, I'm not going to read all your numbers, but Samir, well, I'll read them. Samir 199325. What do you think about the parallels to the story of Z, Golden Frieza, Trunks from the future, Goku Black, and the current tournament? Like in Z before Majin Buu disappeared. So the parallels of the story of Z. Well, I mean, Future Trunks was in Z. Goku and Frieza fought again. Like they did in Z. I'm not really good at talking about parallels in a story, so I'm not the best person for that. I never claimed to be... Now, though, let's say, I never claimed to be smart. Let's remember that. I just like talking about Dragon Ball. I never claimed to be a smart person. Let's get that clear. Boy, are we going to get 300 people in the stream today or what, guys? We got about... I'm assuming this is going to be like an hour stream. 300 by an hour. We got a long way to go, though. Although I'm on a Thursday, people usually aren't... Thursday is like an inactive day. Side note, one thing I really want to start doing is, you know how, like, you know, I'll do them on like a Monday or something, or people will do videos the next day on something that happened in the latest episode, something people were confused about, or something interesting that happened. Rather than doing a Super review, I want to do a live stream after I watch it on Crunchyroll about something that happened in the episode, something people are confused about, you know, try to explain stuff from my point of view, if it's possible. You know, obviously it'll probably be like a late night stream, like 10 or 11, but, you know, if there's something in the episode, that'd be cool to do streams of. Really easy to do. Super Chat. Where the Super Chat? What is Super Chat the paid thing? I don't know if I'd ever want to do that. Maybe I will. I think is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know if I feel good about that. I'll turn it on for next time, alright? I'll think about it. Because a lot of you guys are asking for it. And I'm just like, you're asking to give me money? Sure. I didn't really think that the chats were big enough to do the Super Chat thing. But I don't really know that much about what it is. I'm guessing you just get like boosted to the top of the chat. I have no idea. I'll look into it. It just feels weird, like... like with my current network, I can't donate. And I'm going to definitely, like... I don't have a donate button. So, I also don't have a Patreon, which I don't feel like I would deserve to have a Patreon. But, yeah, I'll think about the Super Chat. A lot of you guys seem to want it, I guess. Excuse you and your damn motorcycle, sir. God damn. Can Tarble be relevant again? Who gives a shit about Tarble, honestly? I could care two shits about Tarble. Like Lord Nemo says, we can hear the road outside. It's a pretty busy street outside my house. I live right on a corner with a stop sign, so people come by here all the time. It'll get busy. It would be a lot worse if I had a worse microphone, although people like to talk shit about Blue Yetis. I have a good time with my Blue Yeti. That sounds oddly sexual. I probably shouldn't have said that. Like, that sounds pretty weird. Like, yeah, I have a good time with my Blue Yeti. Boy, I put an image in my head. Do you think Angel... I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again. Do you think the evil angels thing is going to happen? I hope not. I don't think it should. I don't see why it would. I don't have any reason to believe that it would be something that happened, honestly. I don't really see any... Like, all they've been doing is smiling and making stupid faces. Like, the same thing that Supreme Kai did in the Buu Saga. I just don't see much reason to have it there. Austin Saturday, Josh fucks animals confirmed. Maybe because I said Blue Yeti. It's a microphone, not a Yeti. But okay. Do I think Great Priest has a hidden agenda? He might have a hidden agenda, but I don't think it'll amount to something as him being evil. At least I don't think so. I'm probably wrong. I mean, when am I ever right? I never am. How many episodes is this super arc going to be, though? That's my question. I think we'll end it... well, yeah, I'll end it off pretty soon. Because, I mean, I don't know if I can really continue this for another 14 or so minutes. I do want to do Twitch streaming, but I don't know if I should. Maybe I will. Is this going to be like one of those arcs where... I talked about this last time on my stream. It said 47 minutes are left out of 48 in episode 97. And they fought for 15 minutes. So it's like, how many episodes is this arc going to be? 20? 15? My guess is, if there is some hidden agenda or something or whatever, the tournament's going to finish and then there's going to be a story as a result of the end of the tournament. There's going to be something after it, but it's going to be in the same arc. What I'd like to see is if they do the evil angel thing, and somehow Xeno's is incapacitated or something. I mean, maybe they would do something where the angels are evil and a lot of the fighters from the other universes have to work together to defeat them. That would be interesting. That'd be a cool way to do it. I don't really know if I'd want to see an evil angel thing, though. Read my theory. Where the hell is your theory? Oh, it's a few messages up. Yango Gamer. What if when a universe gets erased during the tournament, they just get sent to another void until the fighting is done? Well, that's what I talked about last time I streamed. I think that maybe they aren't actually being erased, so good theory. You know, unless you saw my video and just said it, then that's, you know, that's another thing, but I'm sure you probably just came up with that. I mean, it's not that hard to think of, I guess, really. It's not that crazy. Evil Angel is my favorite Breaking Benjamin song. The only song I know by Breaking Benjamin is Blow Me Away because it was in Halo 2. And it was good in that game, but it's not really like music I listen to. I don't really listen to newer stuff. I listen to, 80s and shit. Like literally 50s through some of the 90s. But yeah, like all the way through there. Like I like some 90s stuff. Like a lot of the songs on like Tony Hawk Pro Skater I'll listen to. I'll play that in my car. Do you want the end of Super to go until the future after Z? I don't really know if I want to do that, but I do want them to not do like another big time skip. I want Super to go on as long as it can, as long as it keeps quality. I don't care if it keeps going. I'm not one of those guys that are like, let this series die. Like when they heard there was going to be more Gears of War games and more Halo, they're like, let it die. I'm like, if it can keep being good and engaging, why the hell is it a problem that it keeps going on? It's not a bad thing. It's not ruining the rest of the franchise, If it keeps being good and I keep enjoying it, that's all I care about. In my opinion. Have I seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Not at all. I've heard good things, though. How is Jiren going to be defeated? I don't know. Maybe he'll get hit with a sock puppet. The referee girls from Yu Yu Hakusho were babes. You know, you're right about that one. Halo 5 was trash. Bro, did you play it? That was probably super loud. Dude, Halo 5 is like... It's like, I'm like so off. We're so late in the fucking stream that it doesn't even matter if I go off track now. But I am ending it in a minute. Bro, I got the $100 Halo 5. I love my Halo 5. And I got the $100 gears, but, you know. Oh, and I got the Xenoverse Collector's Edition, but the box is back there. Yeah, Halo 5 was awesome. See, people in the chat are disagreeing. That's right. You guys know it. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it off here, guys. You know, we've got about 50 minutes, so that's pretty good. But, oh, the campaign in Halo 5 was not that great. No, I don't disagree with you. Although some of the levels, the environments are very cool. The story was a misstep. But, you know, I'm getting too off track. Thanks for watching the stream, guys. It was great. Plan on doing one of these Saturday, depending on how the episode goes. I think this will be a new thing for the channel. There's a lot more streams like this. These just work for me, I feel like. They really do. And I enjoy doing them, and I think that's the most important part. Hopefully you guys like it too, interacting. I'll look into the super chat for next time if you guys want that. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys. And, of course, catch you guys later.